He's the most successful European goalkeeper of all time.
Langer Pass auf Neeskens. Aber Maier sehr aufmerksam.
He won the World Cup, the European Nations Cup, the European Champions Cup, and played a spell of 11 years without missing a league game.
Und Maier, fantastisch!
But for Joseph Dieter Maier, known by everyone as Sepp Maier, what he called his greatest sporting achievement began very badly. The 1974 World Cup final against Holland, and Holland are awarded a penalty in the first minute before a German player has touched the ball. Even today, Maier says it was outside the area. The record books say differently. Neeskens versus Maier. And Maier gets his first touch, but Germany are one down.
1:0, Torschütze Neeskens.
25 minutes gone, Holzenbein making a run for Germany. And it's another penalty. Paul Bragner taking the responsibility here, and it's 1-1. Just before half-time, Bonhoff on the right-hand flank, doing well. Muller picks it up, good turn, and it's 2-1. The story was changing. This was the year Bayern Munich had won the European Champions Cup. Maier was one of 6 Bayern players in that team, and in the second half, it began to look as if it was going to be their day again.
I believe that Holland could have played for another hour in our penalty area, and they would never have scored. Never. When luck is on your side and you feel good, you notice this as a goalkeeper. At first you're a normal size, but then you're like, well, you're like a floodlight, physically and mentally. You're as solid as a floodlight, and you shine the same way too.
But after a tough second half, the final whistle seemed a very long time coming.
I was expecting the final whistle, looking at the clock. A minute is suddenly like an hour.
And
then the final whistle comes and everything is forgotten. Forgotten is the anger in the training camp. You can imagine when you're together for 8 weeks, there's a lot of anger, and then everything is forgotten.
Forgotten also was that humiliating defeat by the East Germans earlier in the finals. Morale was at rock bottom, so Maier and his teammates found a solution in an all-night drinking session.
We were up until 5 or 6 in the morning. At 8 we had a training session and everybody had hangovers. But everything was forgotten. It was like a new start. We were not out of the competition. We were still alive.
Maier started his career as a goalkeeper at the age of 15, accidentally, because a teammate broke an arm and he had to go in goal.
In former times, the lazy and the fat ones had to go in goal. They said, you can't run anyway, go in goal. But I think things have changed now.
That twist of fate launched an outstanding career which included 95 German caps. He emulated his hero Lev Yashin by becoming Europe's finest goalkeeper. But in contrast, Maier was in the national team which sank to its lowest point in recent times. A 3-2 defeat against Austria in the 1978 World Cup. This meant they failed to reach the last 4 for only the second time since the Second World War. Even Sepp Maier couldn't stop Hans Krankel in Cordoba. A year later, the golden times of Sepp Maier came to an abrupt halt. A car crash left him seriously ill in hospital with severe internal injuries and broken ribs. After 8 months, he tried to come back. It didn't work.
For me, football was like a drug. After my car crash, I went to the stadium, and all the people kept asking me, Sepp, when are you going to play again? I was totally depressed and decided not to go to the stadium anymore. So I listened to the radio and watched TV. I did this for 2 years before I got over the situation, but it was a really hard time.
But Sepp Maier, nicknamed Katze von Ansing, or the Ansing Cat, had something to fall back on. A tennis park he'd started to develop in 1974. In his darkest hour, tennis gave him an outlet and the basis of a new life away from football. And like his goalkeeping career, he'd started tennis by accident, his own this time. In 1966, when in England for the World Cup, he broke a bone in his hand and was ruled out of the team reckoning. But he asked to stay with the squad, then he went to a supermarket, bought a racket, started playing for something to do, and became the tennis star of the German national football team. As well as running the tennis center, where he plays several times a week, there's also a regular spot on the TV quiz show. He regularly watches Bayern Munich, and he has a job coaching the German national team goalkeepers. As part of Bertie Vogt's coaching team, he's now preparing for the World Cup in America. And he was a member of Franz Beckenbauer's backroom staff when Germany won the world title in Italy 4 years ago.
I have to say that we have a good chance of keeping the title. Before another team wins the title, they have to beat us first.
The Ansing Cat reached 50 just recently, but he doesn't look a lot different and is as cheerful as ever.
Thank you. Lots of wrinkles. But this is because I'm laughing all the time.
Das sind keine Sorgenfalten.